To reconstruct something means to put it back together. The time period after the Civil War was known as Reconstruction. The hope was to put our nation back together as one.
Got a job jar of overdue repairs. Gonna try this new stuff. Scotch brand transparent duct tape. Works inside and out. And you know it lasts 6 times longer than regular duct tape.
The biggest success of the time period Reconstruction was a change to our U.S. Constitution. 3 amendments were added, the 13th, 14th, and 15th. The 13th got rid of slavery forever. The 14th granted citizenship to all people born in the United States. And lastly, the 15th granted the right to vote for all African Americans. Not women yet. That's going to be another 60 years out.
Let's see. I know who I want for all the judges and propositions, but president, that's a stumper. Can I write in Judge Judy?
One of the problems that needed to be solved after the Civil War was what were slaves going to do for employment and what were plantation owners going to do for labor. They worked out a system called sharecropping. Sharecropping was the idea that the plantation owners would share a percentage of their profits for the former slaves, the newly freed black people's work. It seemed like a very good deal at the time. What it turned into, though, was at the end of the season, the plantation owner would tally up all of the tiny costs from providing food to tools to land rent so that the freed black person actually ended up owing money at the end of the season, having to return for the next season. So sharecropping really wasn't about sharing at all.
Because he broke the rules.
What rules? We didn't see any rules, did we, Charlie?
Wrong, sir. Wrong. Under Section 37B of the contract signed by him, it states quite clearly that all offers shall become null and void if, and you can read it for yourself in this photostatic copy, I, the undersigned, shall forfeit all rights, privileges, and licenses herein and herein contained, etc., fax mentis incendium gloria culpum, etc., memo bis punitor delicatum.
We've talked in the past about how to oppress people. Fear is often a tool that is used. Shortly after the Civil War was the creation of the KKK. Most of you are familiar with the KKK, a terrorist group who rode around at night terrorizing blacks.
Henry Himmler. What Clavin claimed you? California Clavin, Cucamonga. California? Yeah, I was just passing through town and looking for something to do this evening. There was nothing going on at the Rotary Club. I heard about this. Well, welcome, Henry. I'm the Grand Kleagle. Oh. California thing. Here I come. Zulu! Zulu! And go back. Gene Hackman kick your ass.
After Abraham Lincoln was killed, Vice President Andrew Johnson became the president. Many of the Republicans in Congress did not like Johnson's lenient attitude towards the South. So they looked at everything they could find, eventually impeaching him for a very, very minor technical offense. When it went to trial in the Senate, he was found not guilty by 1 vote.
Days of our impeachment, where the only thing at stake is democracy. Starring Adam Schiff.
Excitement, emotion, and none of it from me.
Cross-examiner with a mysterious brain injury, Jim Jordan.
I've got my sleeves rolled up.
Another group strongly disliked by Southerners were Southerners who dared to be members of the Republican Party. Remember, Lincoln was a Republican. The Southerners hated the Republican Party. Southerners who were Republicans earned the name Scallywag.
Traitor!
A group of Northerners who came down south in order to open businesses, get into politics, and in general, take advantage of the situation were despised by Southerners. They gained the name carpetbaggers for the name of their cheap luggage made out of carpet.
You see,
Andrew Johnson chose not to run again after his impeachment hearing. We had as our next president Ulysses S. Grant, the great general from the Civil War. We have a long history of electing military generals as U.S. presidents. Grant struggled in his presidency due to many of his advisors who were corrupt. He tended to pick friends like someone else, Andrew Jackson, instead of those most qualified. Aside from the Civil War and a failed presidency, Grant will be remembered for his periodic very heavy drinking and his 20 cigar a day bad habit.
He's a world here.
Surprisingly, Grant dies of lung cancer. After the president of General Ulysses S. Grant, there was a very, very close election. The Republicans won by only one electoral vote. The South, of course, was enraged, having already dealt with something like this before. In order to create peace, the Northern Republicans agreed to stop all work with Reconstruction, stop all work with making African Americans legal citizens, and turning their back on the South, letting the South to its own devices, which unfortunately were devices of terror and racism.